beauty, or ideal love. Yeah. Mhm.
Right. And then we're gonna move on to another segment where we're gonna talk about they feed off your compliments. Um, they were jogging. So anyway, time going by, they getting a little friendlier now. So they knew they jogged at the same place. So she kind of went home, got all kind of dressed up, changed her wardrobe, put a little bit more makeup on, and she was trying to play it off like she wasn't waiting for him, but she was. And she go jogging, and he finds her, and then they have a little small chat, and then she's running and she's not paying attention to where she's going, and she ends up running into somebody and she's falling. So of course, he comes to the rescue. He helps her run, take her back to his house, and he's like telling her that you always compare me to your husband. You always talk about your husband, and she's like, no, I don't. He's like, yes, you do. And the conversation is going back and forth as a tag team. So he's like trying to flirt with her, feed off of her, and then she's like trying to flirt back with him, and they feeding off each other's compliments. And then it looks like she's gonna fall into it at this point, but then she says, "Don't play with me, because I see your earring. I saw the earrings on the table. I see the shoes, the lady shoes."
Right.
So she, called him on it. Yeah. Is there exactly you can remember what we can talk about? Is there somewhere in the movie? Cause it's 7:31. Okay, do you remember somewhere in the movie where he lacked empathy? I'm trying to remember.
When
he
she
really cared about.
Remember when he yelled at her mom, or he pushed her mom? Didn't he hit her mother?
Oh yeah.
Remember when they went?
Yeah, knocked her down.
And then she was saying how she was getting ready to go back home, and she was snatching her stuff out the closet, and he lacked empathy about. He had no remorse for what he did to her mother.
Right.
And then he ended up beating her up as a result.
Right. And then another one we didn't read, because I think that was in the movie, they pick on you constantly. So as their relationship progressed, and she kind of like undercoverly cheated on her husband, they would sneak off, go to his house or whatever, and they were at the house, and she was all ready, and they was having a conversation, and I don't know what he said to her, but he was like, he was no longer charming. He was beginning to be abusive because he felt comfortable now. He could do it because he got her attention now. So he started like picking on her and telling her she can go home and all that. So it just became that.
And then
go ahead.
I was gonna say, I was actually looking at the gaslighting. Is it form of manipulation and emotional abuse?
Yeah.
And what I wanted to talk about was how he was using her for his fantasies. Like he was using her with the drugs and the sex. She wasn't a type of woman that would have orgies, would have sex with more than one person. Matter of fact, she was only having sex with her husband. And probably before they were married, just her boyfriend. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying that he used her, he manipulated her into acting like that, using drugs, partying with him, in exchange of being with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is how I do. So if you want to be here, this is what I do. You know what I'm saying? So he kind of like, because initially she had a problem in the beginning. She had a problem with him having somebody there. Matter of fact, she broke up with him. She snatched her stuff and went and slapped him up. And so, but then later, after he got her to, in so many words, conform to the woman he wanted her to be in his life, she was accepting all that and some. So before, she was tripping about if he was messing with somebody. Now she's allowing him to be with all kind of women, because when her husband came to the house looking for her, she was in between him and some other women, and they were all kissing on each other.
Right.
And
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So I just want to elaborate more on. Okay, I just want to elaborate on this is another form of narcissistic traits. Going back to gaslighting, like Vicky was saying, gaslighting is a form of manipulation, emotional abuse, And the narcissistic, straight out, going to tell you blunt lies. They're going to falsely accuse you of stuff. They're going to spin the truth. They're going to destroy your reality. So basically, when he was getting her comfortable and getting her all caught up, or she didn't want to be with her husband no more, he basically is gaslighting her, making her doubt herself, making her feel like, oh, well, I shouldn't be with him. I should be with him. So here's some more signs. You no longer gaslighting. When you are in that situation, you no longer feel like the person you used to be. So she's straight, no longer wanted to be that other person. She wanted to be with him and on the drugs. They make you feel anxious and less confident. He truly did do that. You often wonder if you're being too sensitive. They make you feel like you're doing everything wrong. And they make you feel like it's always your fault and they don't do nothing wrong. And they're making you always to apologize to them. So that's basically what he was doing. And just to wrap up the movie, if you guys want to, we're not here to be, what is the word? I've got to be funny. We're not here to be, what is it? Movie critics. We just sharing a little bit. Hopefully we done shared enough for y'all to be like, okay, as soon as they finish, we're going to go turn that movie on.
I have to say this one thing before you end it.
Yes.
One thing that we found in the article and it shows in the movie, fighting with a narcissist feels impossible. It's like they will give you a hard time. So she tried to fight with him, and he ended up beating her up. He left her in the bathtub beat up. She had black eyes. Shoot, I think he kicked her all in her ribs. He really beat her up really bad. And her husband came and rescued her.
The second time, because her husband came to get her, and she was like, no, give me my computer. I'm cool. I don't need you. And then just to wrap this up real quick, another thing, they dance around, that's a whole nother show, but they dance around defining a relationship. You may call it one thing, but they'll call it, we ain't in no relationship. You get my point? You be like, oh, you're supposed to be my man. No, I ain't.
Well, that's one of the characteristics. Right. That's one of them, because I know narcissists that do claim the relationship, but we can say this: they claim it when it's convenient for them. So if they having a moment, then they want to redefine the relationship and find everything wrong with you under the sun. But then when they're in the mood, then they want to say they love you so much, they want to do all these things, and they never want, they want to be with you till you're 100 years old, or be in a rocking chair. They might say all those things, whatever it is that they know that you want to hear.
A rocking chair.
Yeah.
And they think they're always right, and they never gonna apologize. So, we just giving you information. Take it as a grain of salt. We're not trying to freak nobody out. Be like, oh God, I gotta leave my man, leave my woman. No,
I doubt it. Shoot, a lot of people know these days. People know so much about narcissistic people, because it seems like it's a lot of narcissistic people out there now, especially in relationships. It seems like it sticks out more in an intimate relationship than anything.
Yes. So we're going to talk about the positive side of narcissistic. We can't tell you when. Just know that we're going to talk about it, just like we got to talk about try, like we did sorry. So, hey, just continue to follow us. And,
Well, one thing I wanted to say.
Yes.
I wanted to say that you should go watch the movie Temptation if you haven't seen it, or have a different perspective about it. But I want you to know this. She did end up getting AIDS. Well, not AIDS, HIV. After the whole thing was over with, when her husband rescued her, they found out that she had HIV. So, it doesn't pay to be with a narcissistic.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And she ended up being a counselor. She did end up being her family counselor. And, however, her and her husband did not last. They ended up getting a divorce. And he ended up getting married, but they still had a relationship because he was her pharmacist and she had to come get her medicine from him. Okay. Oh, wow. Jesus. Okay, moving on. What else can we talk about? Let us see.
We have a bunch of stuff to talk about. What else can we talk about?
Yes. I was just trying to keep on point. Okay, so 2 weeks ago, we had shared about domestic violence and the what is the word I'm looking for? We talked about the kid and when to leave, when not to leave, how it affects your children, young and teenagers, and we went through that whole thing. But in the midst of our conversations, because me and Vicki have fruitful conversations, we mentioned about if you're in a domestic violence relationship at the time and you're at work, and we had mentioned that it's okay to let your employer know that you're going through a domestic violence situation, because they need to know, because they may come to your job, they may cause havoc, and then you might feel like you're getting fired. Well, in California, there is a bill that will protect you. It is called SB 400. And basically this bill says to provide employment protections to survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, or stalking. This law went into effect in 2014. SB 400 makes it unlawful for an employer to terminate or otherwise discriminate against an employee based on his or her known status as a victim of domestic violence, sexual assault, or stalking. The law also entitles victims to reasonable safety accommodations at their workplace. And we're going to leave it right there.
I just wanted to add. I wanted to add that California is not the only state that followed that law, but because of the sake of DJ Dika's source, that's the source that she has is California. But I do know that they abide by that law in other states as well. So
thank you for that information.
Just look up the law in your state. If you're in a different state, then look up the law in that state, and it'll give you the steps and what's under that law. And then also you can also look at your employee handbook at your job as well.
Very good. Yes. So we got that information from the California Partnership to End Domestic Violence. You can also type in SB 400, and if you don't have that information, just type in domestic violence, employment protections. Me and Miss Vicki love to research. That's our favorite pastime. Okay, let's move on. What else can we talk about? I want to make sure we cover everything, because last week I was missing a whole lot. Man, I'm going to be transparent and say you're being disbobulated. I'm not going to be disbobulated today. Okay. Stimulus check. I know y'all waiting, right? Everybody waiting. DJ
I don't know about everybody.
Waiting. Okay. Well,
everybody is not sitting by the side waiting. Some people don't appreciate. Some people are saying that it's only $1,200. So we can't say everybody.
Snap. Okay, and then there's some people that already got theirs. Okay, right. We want to get it right information. And there are some people that already got theirs. So as of today, we know that they're going through their second round, and we have not received ours yet, but we know it's coming. And we have a resource. If you are one of those that is waiting and want to know when it's coming, we have a website. And Miss Vicki and I have done it ourselves, so we're not just telling you information just to be talking. Okay. We want you to know whenever we do the show, we're going to give you valuable information, and we done checked it out and did it ourselves. Okay. The website is www.irs.gov/coronavirus/get-my-payment. And when you go to the website, you scroll down, and you're going to see the little button that says Get My Payment. And then when you open up the box, it's going to ask you for your Social Security number, your birth date, your address, and your zip code. Now, mind you, this disclaimer here. You may go to it, and it may tell you information is unavailable. Been there, done that. So myself and Vicki had to keep going to it, So finally today, before we got on the air, we went to it and we got a status. So if it doesn't come up right away, don't freak